Hi there, everyone. It's about 1:30 now, so I think I'm going to go ahead and get started here. I see that there's still a couple of people who are joining, but let's go ahead and get started. And I was hoping that we could take a roll just so I know who is attending. So let's see. Do we have anybody from Clatsop?
Yes, this is Annette.
Hi, Annette. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. And how about Columbia County? And how about Crook County? Do we have Julie on the phone?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, Julie.
Hi.
And then we have, do we have anybody from DEQ from any of the three offices?
This is Marty. I think I'll be the only one here today.
Oh, okay. Hi, Marty.
Hey.
And how about Douglas County? And is Jesse Barnes on the line from Grant, Harney, and Wheeler? How about Jefferson County? And Klamath, is Jenny on the line?
Yes.
Hi, Jenny. And Lincoln County?
Yeah, we're both here.
Hi there, Lily and Vanessa.
Hello. Yes.
Hi. All right, and Polk County?
Yes, I have Autumn, and I think Jim is trying to call in, it looks like maybe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hi there. And Chris from Tillamook?
I am here.
Hi, Chris. Okay, perfect. Well, thank you for going through that with me. I think that'll be helpful just to know who's attending. And if you wouldn't mind muting your phone, your sound, unless you do have a question, that would be great. That would avoid some feedback and that sort of thing. And just as some housekeeping items, this training, I have it scheduled for 2 hours. I'm hoping it's not going to be that long. I did this similar training with DEQ a couple weeks ago, and it was less than about an hour and a half or so. I am recording this training so that it's available. I'll send it out to everybody so you can watch it again if needed or share it with anybody else who can attend. And also know that I'm going to cover a lot of information. I know I provide a lot of detail, but just know that you don't have to memorize everything that I'm saying. I do have written documentation for everything that I'm going over. And then also, lastly, if you do have any questions, feel free to just interrupt me, pipe in, and ask your question. I don't mind that at all if you just stop me, and I'd like to just help answer your questions the best I can. So you should see my screen here with the PowerPoint. And I have an agenda, and you can see it's a long agenda here. So we'll be going over quite a bit of information. Some of this will be repeat for some of you. Some of it will be all brand new. We're going to have an intro to the project, talk about go live dates, talk about the record type relationship, talk about the about to expire batch process. I'm going to show you how you can generate your holding tank letters that are available today, and how you can process these renewals in the back office. Also how to use some record filters that are new, and also give you a brief overview of what the maintenance providers and property owners, what the process will look like online for them, and also talk about help desk support. So as an introduction to this project, this is a new method for tracking your annual inspection reports for those systems that require that yearly report. And you can track for all of these system types. I won't read them to you, but it includes the ATT systems and holding tanks. And the reason why we started this project back in May is that we heard from DEQ in our counties that they were having a hard time tracking these types of systems in those annual reports. They were using either some rambling spreadsheets or kind of sort of using Excel with inquiry records, but it was all very clunky and cumbersome. So now there's this new feature that is available in Excel. And I do hear a little bit of feedback. Again, if everybody could just mute your phone or your computer speakers, that would be great. Actually, it looks like I have control. I'm going to mute everybody. And with this project, there is a back office component and there is an online component. And there will be familiar functionality. If you send out letters from Excel, you'll see alerts just like you do with other online submittals. You'll be using related records and set payments. So that should all be familiar. But what is new is the renewal feature that is available in Excel software. You'll see this new renew button. And also this is just, it was a partnership between the e-permitting program and DEQ. So myself, Heidi, and Jeff Rontakis and Chrissy Dybel from the e-permitting, all three of us worked really hard on this project, and we worked alongside Marty Easter from DEQ to really try to get this to be a really usable feature for DEQ and all participating counties. And then also, this is kind of cool, there are, out of 17 e-permitting counties, 14 are participating. So it was a really great turnout, which we're really excited for. And I also wanted to say that as corny as this sounds, we couldn't have done this without all of you folks who are on the line. Every single one of you helped in some way to get this project off the ground, whether it was working with Jeff for your data conversion or spending lots of time hand entering your master records and getting your data all squared away. I know we couldn't have done this without the help and support of everyone on the line. So I really, really appreciate that. And I'm trying not to giggle. I have a kitty who's snoring in the background, so sorry about that. But I just wanted to mention there is some terminology that you will see, renewal terminology, and you might not think of renewals in relation to these annual inspection reports, but it's a feature that we're using in the Excel software. Just know that renewals, those basically equal annual inspection reports. And you'll mostly see the word renew or renewals in the back office. But on citizen access for public users, I tried to change that to annual inspection reports. So it's a little bit more user-friendly for them and terminology that they're used to. And here are the go live dates for this new project. You'll notice almost everything is available as of today, which is really exciting. and I'll be going over all of these items during our training. The only exception is you will be able to send letters from Excella to property owners for ATT systems as a follow-up. That's beginning February 1st of next year. Everything else is available today, though. And just as an overview of the record type relationship, with this new project, there are two new record types available, the master record and the renewal record. And this is the typical hierarchy of the record type relationship. So you'll, in most cases, start out with that install permit. Once that's complete and the CFSC is issued for the ATT system types and holding tanks, then this master record is created automatically and it becomes a child of the install permit. This isn't always the case for some of your converted records or those that you had to hand enter, but this is kind of the relationship going forward. So this master record, it is a record that will stay alive or active as long as that system in the ground is active. It's ongoing throughout the years. This master record, it has all the current information on it, including the address parcel owner, the maintenance provider, the system type and description, the contract start and end dates if you're tracking those are available here, an expiration date, which will always be December 31st of the current year. And it also shows the status of the system, whether it's active or possibly decommissioned. And it will also, the status will change as we start to roll into the renewal period. And this is where you'll send letters from. You'll always send from the master. And when you send letters in Excella, a copy is always attached under documents for the master record. So it'll create a really good audit. And the master record, it can only be created in the back office. So your maintenance providers or homeowners, they'll never be creating these master records. It's all in your control. And then this renewal record, this is new in production as of today. And this is what you will be using to record those annual inspections. And you'll have a renewal record for every reporting year, and it will become a child record of the master record. So in this example, you can see there's a renewal child record for 2020, another one for 2021, another one for 2022, etc. So again, this will create a nice audit for you that you can view in Excella. And for these renewal records, it's where you can record those annual inspection yes/no questions. You can also record the resolution in case there's something that was answered negatively. You can track when it was resolved. This is also really important to remember. The renewal fees get assessed and paid on the renewal record only. They will never get assessed and paid on the master record. So you should never see fees and payments on the master. It's always on these yearly renewal records. And this renewal record, it can also be thought of as kind of a vehicle to update data on the master record. And you'll see what I mean by that in this demo. But you will have the opportunity to update the maintenance provider, the owner, system information by marking that on this renewal record. And as soon as the renewal is paid for, that gets copied back up to the master. So you have a yearly opportunity to update information onto the master record. And these renewals, they can be created either in the back office by county or DEQ staff or online by your maintenance providers. Are there any questions so far? Okay, so next, Everybody on the line should have received an email either last night or this morning with an output of a batch job that ran. And the batch job is marking all of your master records to about to expire. And this is really important for the renewal records. If a master record is not set to about to expire, then you will not be able to renew them or create that annual inspection report. And this batch job, they were ran last night, as I said, or this morning. In the next coming years, they will be run beginning of September. So basically what this status does is it is kind of the key to unlock master records to have their annual inspection report submitted online or in the back office. So next year we will open this up a lot earlier, starting in September. As I was saying, that about to expire is necessary for the record to be renewed online and in the back office. And here's a little screenshot down here. This is a real record, and you can see that it's the master record, and it is the expiration status. It's not the record status, but the expiration status, and you can find that under expiration date on the record, and it's this status here. And the batch job that ran last night and this morning, it reviewed all the master records in your agency, and it looked for a status of active, additional info needed, or additional info received. If any of your master records were void or withdrawn, or anything along those lines, it would have skipped those master records. And it was also looking for an expiration date for this year. So it was looking for December 31st of 2020. And as soon as it found the correct records, it updated them to about to expire. And in the email that you received, it would have said all the different records, master records that it updated, and then it probably had some exceptions down at the bottom, either if there was a wrong status or the wrong expiration date. So I would encourage all of you to take a look at that email and just verify any exceptions that were skipped. And then if you have any questions on that, just let me know, and I'm more than happy to help with that and next steps on how to fix those. And there are only certain user groups in Excella that can process renewals in the back office. So you'll notice that inspectors and cashiers, they're not listed here. But if you're an on-site admin, permit tech, supervisor, admin daily, then you'll be able to process the renewals in the back office. If anybody in your office does not have the correct permissions, just submit a help desk ticket and we can get that person upgraded to the correct user group so that they can help process these renewals. So let me go ahead and jump into Excella and start to demonstrate how this is going to work. So first of all, I'm going to show you how you can create your holding tank letters or generate those. I'm in our staging environment here in just DEQ Pendleton's office. So the first step is looking at the record page. There are now a handful of new record filters. There's a whole bunch here. The one I want to select for the holding tank letters is Annual Service Master Letters Holding Tanks. And so this filter is looking for all your master records that are marked as a holding tank. And so I'm going to, there are only 3 here for this agency. So the next step is to hover over Create a Set, choose Select All and Create a Set. And you can give this any set ID that you want. And the set name, I like to just give these the same. And then the next important thing is the set type. You want to choose on-site renewals. This is really important. I'll go ahead and hit submit. And so it gives me this message, the set was created successfully. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my set page. And again, just remember that all of this is in some written documentation that I can send you as soon as this training is over. So, and then the next step is to click on the new set that was created. And then I'm going to go to set member. And just like with generating expiration letters, if you use that for any of your modules, you'll do the same thing by clicking execute script and then selecting on-site renewal letters to owners holding tanks. And this is the hard part, being patient. Sometimes it feels like it's not doing anything, but it does take a second to finally get these to execute. And just because this is training and I have a live audience, there is a little goof up here. Let me switch to a different agency. So sorry about this. Go back to DEQ Pendleton.
Heidi,
Yeah.
this is Vanessa at Lincoln County.
Hi there.
Is this something that's available to us now? And did you just click on my filters?
All of what I'm showing you is available now. Except for some counties have not gotten me their holding tank letters yet. So for those agencies, you're not able to do this process yet, but Lincoln County, you definitely can do the same process. So now in production, you should see those new filters. If you don't see them, let me know, and I may need to clear the cache. Does that?
Yeah, I don't see it. I just thought I would try and go in with you, but it's not in there yet.
Oh, darn. Okay. Let me make a note of that. Okay, I'll take a look at that as soon as this training's over. Okay, sorry about that. So now I'm going to go ahead and execute this script again. And like I said, it does take a few seconds, and if the more records you have in your list or your set, the longer it'll take. But you'll know it's finished when the screen refreshes and then you get this pop-up message. And so this pop-up message, this has some helpful information, and you'll also receive an email with all of this information just for record keeping purposes as well. But you can see that the batch script, it reviewed every record in your set. And what it's trying to do is first look for an email address associated to the owner. And if an email address exists, then it will email a PDF of your letter. But if not, it will, you'll be able to print your letters through Excella and then pop those in the mail. So I can see here, owner email address, none available, none available, none available. So it wasn't able to email to any of my owners. But it does give you this message that there are letters that were not mailed and they need to be printed for mailing. And it has some instructions on how to do that. So I can just go ahead and close this up. And now I'm going to generate the letters for printing. So to do that, you want to highlight and check this first record. Go to Reports, and then choose Renewal Letter Holding Tank from Set. So we're generating a report here. So I can go ahead and enter 2020 as the reporting year. and hit submit. And so it generated the letters, and I can go ahead and just print these and then fold them up and put them in the mail. And these letters, for those of you who submitted your holding tank letter to me, you should have already received a copy of this. But it shows contact information in the upper portion of the letter. It shows the owner and their mailing address. If you're missing the owner, it will say just a generic current property owner, and then it has the site address. And then it has some important information, and then lists instructions for the property owner. It also has instructions on how the property owner can submit their holding tanks, pumping records online. And then the second page, this is pretty neat. This shows a printable form. So if the property owner just does not want to submit online, they can just print this and fill it out and then send it in the mail. And you'll notice that there's some information that's already populated. So the property owner, master record number, address, etc. It's already completed for the property owner. And there's a couple of things that the batch process did as soon as I hit this execute script. It tried to email the letter, but it also did a couple other things. It updated the status for all of these master records. And if it was able to email the letter, you would be able to find that under communications. And for all records, it placed a copy of the letter here under documents, so you always have a copy of it. And it also updated the status. So now the record status is renewal letter 1 sent. If you ever need to regenerate your letter for any reason, you can always go to the Summary tab under Reports. You can find it here, Renewal Letter Holding Tank. Are there any questions on that before I move on? Okay. So now I'm going to show you how you can process a renewal record in the back office. So let's say that one of your maintenance providers has submitted their report to you, they mailed it to you, and you want to process that. So the first thing to do is search for the appropriate master record. You always want to start from the master record. And let's see here. This is an example record that I've created. So you'll want to open it up. And then the next step is to go to this new tab called Renewal. And under Renewal, there's this button called Renew. And if you're missing this Renew button, the first thing that you always want to double check is that about to expire expiration status that I was talking about. So if Renew button is missing, you'll want to make sure that this expiration status is about to expire. But my Renew button is available, so I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And what happens is the intake form pops up, and you want to wait a few seconds. It's actually taking all the information from the master record, and it's populating this intake form. And so I'm actually creating the renewal record at this point. And I can update any of the information that I need. Just looking at my notes to make sure I'm not missing anything here. So for example, if the actually, let me back up here a second. So you'll notice that the owner currently is Stephen and Rebecca McKinney. You can always click on, under parcel, you can always click on Get Address and Owner. And if this master record is connected to reference data, if you click on Get Address and Owner, then it's looking to see if there's any new information in reference. So you can see that the address has remained the same. But for the owner, there's actually a new owner that's on record. It was, oh look, Heidi Tower acquired this property. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove Stephen and Rebecca and leave Heidi Tower as the new owner. If this record wasn't connected to reference, you can manually change the owner if you know there is a new owner on record. And you can do that by just clicking search and then go ahead and enter the new owner there. You can also update the maintenance provider. So if Speedy Septic was last year's maintenance provider and you need to add a new one, you can go ahead and click search. And so Randy Arts, he is now the current maintenance provider, so I'm going to mark him as primary. And go ahead and remove Speedy Septic. All right, so then for the applicant, I'm going to choose the licensed professional as the applicant. The primary contact comes from the master record, so that's already populated for you, but if that has changed, you can go ahead and change that. So I'm going to choose Randy Arts as the primary contact. And you can see here's all the system information that came from the master record. So you can go ahead and populate any of this information or change as needed. And now we get to the required yes/no questions. So these should look familiar, what you currently see on your annual inspection report form. And we have a shortcut that was created. So here at the top, this first question is required. It says all requirements met for this annual inspection report. So this means everything is good for this year. There are no issues. So if I select yes there, it's going to autofill the rest of these yes/no questions positively. So it's going to say, yes, maintenance was performed, it's operating correctly, it's under contract, there's no sewage on the ground, etc. So this is just like a little shortcut for you to use to auto-populate all of these. But if the answer is no, you can mark no and then answer these accurately. So let's say that no, there's no contract on file. You can go ahead and do that. And I'll be talking about these resolution date fields later on in the training. And just know that if any of these are answered negatively, like this one where it's not under contract, that's not going to prevent you from moving forward with submitting payments or anything like that. This is just for information only, for data keeping purposes. And it will be a way for you to follow up with the maintenance provider or homeowner if you choose to do that. There's also a comments box, so you can enter any comments here. And you can submit any documents. So with everything completed, I'm just going to go ahead and hit submit here. All right, so that's step number 1. With these renewals, there's always 2 steps. Number 1 is filling in the intake form, and number 2 is completing the renewal. So you can complete the renewal by simply submitting payment. And you'll notice that this is a little funky, but you'll notice I'm still on the master record. So I need to go ahead and click on this record ID. That will open up this new renewal record. And you'll notice renewal records, they always end in the year, the reporting year, plus R for renewal. So on to step 2 of completing this renewal for the year. So you'll notice if I go to fees, that there was a fee that was automatically assessed. It's automatically invoiced just to save an additional step to make these go pretty quickly for you. And this was assessed based on the system type. So if this was a holding tank, for example, then this would assess the holding tank fee, which is a little bit lower than the ATT fee. And so I'm going to go ahead and go to payment and click apply. Fill in the payment information here. And as long as payment is received in full, that's what's going to complete this renewal. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit save here. You'll notice I'm paying in full. So now that payment is received in full, this renewal is complete for the year. So a few things happened. The receipt popped up just like it normally does for any other record. And so you have the opportunity to email a copy of this receipt to maintenance provider, property owner, whoever you like. But also what happened is that all of the information that I completed on this renewal record got copied up to the master record. And now you can find the relationship under related records. So if I go to related records, I'm going to click on my master record, open that up. And a couple of changes that I made on the renewal was the owner. So you can see now the master record has that new owner. And I also changed the maintenance provider, so that got copied back up to the master record. And so this annual inspection report is complete for the year. And I'm going to show you how you can process multiple renewals all at once. Before I do that, does anybody have any questions? All right. So I'm going to go back to my filters list and just show you real quickly here. There is a new filter called Annual Service Master Not Renewed. You can kind of use this filter to keep tabs on how many master records have not been renewed for the year. So you can see in DEQ Pendleton, just in our staging environment, there's 71 that still have not been renewed. So I'm just going to real quickly start processing multiple records and then show you how they can all be completed all at once with a set payment. So the use case for this is if, let's say you have one of your maintenance providers who services a lot of the systems in your county. Let's say they come and they have, I don't know, 200 annual inspection reports to submit to you. And you have those all in front of you, and they have one check where they want to pay for all of them all at once. To do that, you can go ahead and just do your first step by going to the Renewal tab, click your Renew button. So this step always looks the same. I'm just going to run through this really quickly. There are no changes from last year. Just going to mark the owner as the applicant. I'm going to say, yes, everything was great this year, and hit submit. Okay, so then I'm going to go on to the next one. Click my Renew button. And wait for everything to populate. And then in this case, nothing has changed. Just going to fill in the applicant. Mark yes, everything's great for this year. Hit submit. And so you would continue doing that until you've created all the renewal records for that certain maintenance provider. And then you'll then want to find all of those renewal records, and you can either use the records search feature and search for maybe that specific maintenance provider, or however you want to start building your set. I'm just going to go ahead and look for these annual service renewals incomplete. So this filter, it will bring up a list of all the renewals that are started but not complete. So then once you have a list of all those renewal records for the one maintenance provider, you can then select all of those and create a set. Give it a set ID and a set name. Choose On-Site Renewals and hit Submit. Then I'm going to go to the set page. Back up a little bit here. Sorry about that. Okay, so here's my new set of all of the renewals for this specific maintenance provider. And then I can go ahead and click Payment. And all fees were automatically invoiced. So now it's just ready to submit payment. And as long as the payment is received in full for all of these renewal records, then they are all completed all at once. So now you can send the set receipt off to your maintenance provider or to the property owner, however you want to manage that. So you can kind of see how this process will work fairly quickly if you have a whole bunch to do for one specific payment. Are there any questions on that? All right. let's see here. And I real quickly want to show you kind of a little bit of difference when you are creating a renewal record for holding tanks. So bear with me just 1 second. So the process looks the same. I've selected my holding tank master record here. I'm going to go to the Renewal tab, then click on Renew. And just like with ATT systems, the intake form pops up. All the information is being populated. And let's say nothing has changed this year. If you are missing a licensed professional on your holding tank system, you'll notice that this piece of data is required. But as a workaround, you can either enter a pumping truck license, I believe, or you could also select the owner property as the license type. And this just marks that the property owner is the licensed professional. And just like with ATT systems, I have to choose the applicant, fill in that information. I can mark the primary contact. I see the system fields, that's all the same, but here's a difference. With the holding tanks, these yes, no questions do not apply. So you'll notice that they're no longer required. They're still visible here, and that's because a lot of this system is shared with ATTs. But you can just go ahead and skip right over this. They're not required fields. But you'll notice that documents is also available. So if you have the owner's pumping tank record, you can go ahead and scan it and then add it here. And there is a document type for a holding tank pumping record. So again, the process is identical to ATT systems, except these fields are not required. And in some cases, you'll want to add the property owner as the licensed professional. So then I would just go ahead and submit with all that information completed. And step 1 is done. And then I would just go ahead and do step 2 of submitting payment. And also keep in mind that you can also have either the maintenance provider or the property owner submit payment online at this point, and that would complete the renewal just like it does in the back office. So I know I'm bouncing around a lot. Are there any questions that are coming up? I'm happy to take a break here and answer any questions. All right. So those are the 2 ways that you can complete your renewal records for the year, either by submitting a payment on a single record or doing a set payment. And now I wanted to show you how you can manage those yes, no questions for ATT systems. So in your My Filters, you'll have a new filter called Annual Service Renewals Negative Results. So if I select that, it's going to look at all renewal records, and it's going to give me a list of anything that had a negative answer. So this is the one that I just submitted. where I said that there was no contract on file. So you can use this filter however your county decides. There's no requirements to use it, but just know that it is something that is available to you. And so now at this point, I can also go back to the On-Site Annual Service Renewal tab. And you'll notice that since there was a negative answer here, that there is a notice condition that was added to the renewal record and the matching master record, just saying that there was that there's potentially follow-up that is needed. And so to get rid of this banner and to have this record fall off of that filter list, you can do one of two things. You can either mark this as yes, just kidding, it is under contract, or you can populate a resolution date. So with that resolution date populated, I can hit save here. And let's see. If I go to conditions to refresh the screen, you can see that condition has fallen off of the renewal record and off of the master record. So again, you guys, you can choose how you want to use these fields and how you want to do your follow-up, but just know that that's available to you as an option. There are quite a few new record filters that I've kind of shown you a little bit of those, but these all of them have a unique purpose and will help you in kind of managing all of your master records and making sure that that the annual inspection reports get submitted. I do have a training document that describes each one of these filters, so I will be sure to send that to you so you know the criteria that each one of these uses. And that's all that I have to show you here in the back office. I also want to take some time and show you what it's going to look like for your maintenance providers and property owners on Citizen Access. So again, I'm in the staging environment here on Citizen Access. I'm going to go ahead and log in. And in this case, let's just say that I'm a maintenance provider. And a huge tip for maintenance providers, and I'm letting you know this in case you communicate with your maintenance providers, but a huge tip is to always go to account management after the online registration is created. And it's really helpful to make sure that they have their DEQ installer maintenance provider license listed there if they are submitting annual inspection reports. This will save them a step when they go through the process. And also, any maintenance provider, or I should take a step back, any public user, any citizen, as long as they have a registration created on our website, they can submit annual inspection reports for either holding tanks or ATT systems. They don't have to be tied to the master record in any way. They just have to be able to search for it. So now that I'm logged in as a maintenance provider, I have my maintenance provider license associated. I want to go ahead and submit my first annual inspection report. So I can do that by going to Apply, choose On-Site Septic Application, And this is the process they would follow if they were to create a new on-site permit or authorization or site eval. It's all the same steps that they would take. So the first thing is they want to choose the county that the system resides in. In this case, it's Baker County. And now, in addition to these three options that were always here, there's now this fourth called Annual Inspection Report. I'm going to choose that and hit Submit. And so this is probably the clunkiest part of this whole process. It is a little bit unique, but they have to search for their master record. And so this first year, they may not know what their master record number is. And so they also have the opportunity to search by address. So I'm going to search by address here. And I can enter, it requires the full street number and the street name. They'll want to leave out, if it is Fern Valley Road, they'll just want to enter Fern Valley. So I'm entering College. I don't need to enter College Street. And then the next step is to click the search checkbox. This is kind of the funky part. But once they check that, then the system is going through and it's validating the information that was entered. And it says that you have entered a valid master record. And there's also this option to clear all. So if I check this box, then that clears all of the search criteria. But I can also, like I said, search by master record number. And always check that box for search. Have to check the box. And then I can hit continue. And so just like you saw in the back office by clicking that renew button and the intake form populating, the same thing is happening on Citizen Access. I'm starting the renewal record called the Annual Inspection Report on Citizen Access, and it's populating all the information from the master record. So now the maintenance provider has the opportunity to update any information. So if they know that maybe this is an outdated email address, then this can be revised. And it always requires the applicant. So I can click on Select from Account. And these are all the people that are associated to either my account or this particular record. So I'm just going to choose my name. And that gets populated here. And also, we understand that in most cases, the maintenance provider is the first to know of an owner change. So you can see that the current owner on the master record is populated, but there's also the opportunity to change that. So let's say that I'm the maintenance provider and I know that this is not currently the owner. So then I can go ahead and enter the current owner. And all counties that are participating, except for Polk County, decided to allow the maintenance provider to just hand enter information here. Polk County, your maintenance providers will have to search against your reference data and find the current owner, or they can just leave it as is if there are no changes. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit continue. And now you can see that what happened is that the maintenance provider from the master record was populated, and I believe in this case there was not a maintenance provider. But what also happened is that since I'm logged in and my maintenance provider license is associated to my account under account management, then it automatically populated my license here. So then I'd have the opportunity to leave my license here, and if there's any other licenses that are no longer servicing the system, I can go ahead and delete those. So that all looks correct. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit continue here. And the next few screens are all read-only, so we don't want maintenance providers or property owners messing with the address or parcel. So it's all read-only, so I'll just hit continue here. The same with the system information, so like the system type and the contract dates. We didn't want the public changing that information, so it's read-only. So they can hit continue. And now here are the yes/no questions. So just like you saw in the back office, there's this first question, all requirements met. I can say yes to that. It auto-populates all those fields positively. But I can also change this to perhaps no on this. I'm sorry, perhaps yes on this. Yes, if there's sewage backup. And just like in the back office, if any of these are answered negatively, it's not going to prevent this renewal from being submitted. And there's also a handy comments box. So if the maintenance provider has any kind of comments, I don't know, I noticed that system type was incorrect, or something like I couldn't find the owner for Polk County, that sort of thing. Any kind of notes they want to notify you of, they can do that here. Or maybe I will pull a construction permit tomorrow or something like that. And so they can hit continue. And now there's the opportunity to review all the information that was submitted. And there's an edit button next to each little section. So if I notice, oh, the applicant phone number isn't quite right, I can edit, hit continue. This is just one last opportunity to change any information before it's submitted. But if it looks good, I can hit continue application. And the fee is automatically assessed and invoiced. So I can go to payment, enter credit card information, and hit submit. And so all of your online renewals, they can only be paid for with a credit card. So if your maintenance provider has a check that they want to submit to you, they'll have to do that. You'll have to process that in the back office. We can only accept credit card payments online. You can also see that banner, it shows up here, just a notice banner saying that follow-up is needed, and that was because I marked a couple of those yes/no questions negatively. And so at this point, the applicant on the record received a copy of the receipt in their email. They also received a confirmation saying that the annual inspection report was submitted for this year. And then in the back office, we can take a quick look there. There is a filter called annual service renewal submitted online in the past 90 days. So any of those should show up from this filter. And also if you use alerts, then a couple of alerts would have shown up here as well. But really, unless you have any follow-up that's necessary, at this point, your maintenance provider, he has done all the work for you, and you don't have to touch this record again until its renewal period next year, and you just have more money in the bank. So it'd be really great if you could encourage your maintenance providers to submit online. You can kind of see how much time and effort that will save you. in the long run. And before I move on, I also wanted to point out that on our website, at the top of the page, there's online training. If I click on that, this is online training for all of our different modules, mostly for the building module. But if you scroll toward the bottom, these last two links describe how to submit an annual inspection report and also a holding tank pumping record. And this should be really helpful for your users. It has descriptive text and screen prints. It just provides lots of information and step-by-step on how they can submit those. I'm still working on a YouTube video to kind of go over that same process. Sometimes it's easier for users to kind of hear and see it at the same time. So I'm hoping to get that out and available on our website in the next couple of days. And it would be available here on the same webpage. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to process a holding tank renewal online just so you can kind of see some subtle differences there. So it is still the same process. You would go to Apply, On-Site Septic Application. I'm going to select the county, Annual Inspection Report. And this process is still identical, so they'll want to search for their master record, or they can enter the address. Check the box to search and verify. And then hit continue. And this is a good example. You can see that it shows this big scary message, an error has occurred. And that's because for some reason there's not a primary contact listed on the master record. So there was a lot of information that's missing. So I'm just going to go ahead and populate this. Select the applicant. I'm going to leave the owner as is. And you'll notice in this case, the licensed professional screen was skipped. And again, that's because this is a holding tank. But the address and parcel is read-only again. System information, again, read-only. Now in this case, because it is a holding tank, they'll have to fill out their pumping record, scan it, save it as a PDF or any kind of document type, and then they'll have to attach it here. So this might be more for the more savvy property owners. I'm not sure if we're going to get a lot submitted by property owners for holding tanks online, but it's a start. It's available. And also the tricky part is they have to select holding tank pumping record as the type. So once that file is attached, I can hit continue application. And now I have that last opportunity to review and update any information before submitting. So I can hit continue application. And you can see that because the system type was holding tank, that the fee is now the holding tank fee. So I can hit continue. Enter my credit card information. and hit submit. So now this holding tank is processed for the year, and it doesn't have to be touched until next year. And in the back office, all of the same alerts will show up, and holding tanks will also fall under this the same filter, those that were submitted in the last 90 days. All right. I've spoken to all the counties. In the last couple of weeks, we've all talked on the phone and done our submittals together. And I have told you how there is a workaround to have the maintenance provider submit their inspection report online, but not pay for that. And then you would have a second process that you would have to do in the back office. I'm not going to go over that today, but I do have training documentation that I will send along to you. So just know that is possible. So that's when the maintenance provider wants to submit their inspection report, but they don't want to pay for whatever reason. And you want to invoice the property owner from the back office. So I'll send you documentation on how to do that. All right, are there any questions on submitting online and how this will look for your customers? And Annette, I know you're on the line. Since you're not requiring payment upfront on Citizen Access, because of your you don't have a Converge account for onsite, I'll reach out to you and provide some information on how you'll do your process just a little bit different. So I'll reach out to you in email and let you know about that. And we're getting toward the end of our training here. I'm making great time. So just wanted to talk about help desk support. So this is a brand new feature. We've all worked really hard in testing and making sure that there's no errors or issues, but you know, there's always something that we missed. So now that everything is live today, just wanted to talk about how you can report issues to us if you run across anything. So if you run across a technical issue, if you see any errors or something is not working correctly, I would love it if you could email this new email address, and I'll send this to you in a follow-up email after this training. But this email address, it'll help me track issues and things that need to be resolved a whole lot better and easier. So if errors or something come up, you can send me an email using this email address. But if it is a critical error and perhaps you have somebody right in front of you at your desk and you need to get it processed right away, you can always give me a call and I can work on that issue for you. If you do have any process questions, so if you're not sure how to handle a special use case, or you need training documentation or anything along those lines, if you could also submit that request to the same email address, these are identical here. Again, that will help me track those a whole lot easier. And like I kind of mentioned this earlier, that that it'd be great if you were an advocate for your maintenance providers that service the systems in your county. And so if they need assistance online, they will actually be directed to contact the county first. So just kind of be aware of that, that they will be contacting you if, or your information will be available to them if they do run into any problems. And also, I wanted to mention that the maintenance providers, there was this big virtual conference. It was really cool. Back in early November, and Marty from DEQ, him and I, we did a little training on how they can submit their annual inspection reports online. So they have received some training. Just like in the case of anything new, they probably don't remember it. But there was that training. We do have that training webpage on our website. And then hopefully that YouTube video will be available fairly soon. So just know that there is training available for your maintenance providers. So even though they might be contacting you first, it doesn't mean that you have to, do a step-by-step training with them. It might just be that you direct them to the correct training. Marty, do you have anything to include on any of this, or any advice for the counties out there?
Not right now. I think that was great. Like you've said several times, I think getting with the maintenance providers, especially this first year, I've actually set, I don't know if y'all feel this way too, but we have probably 15 or so maintenance providers for Jackson and Josephine County down here. And I bet you of those 15, we see about 5 that are very active. One in particular has well over 400 sites that they're doing maintenance for. So I actually reached out to them this morning and set up a time where we could go over this process, take a couple of their sites and do it live. Be great if we could go to their business, sit down, really go over it step by step with them, but we'll have to do it over like a Teams call or Zoom. So I've reached out to the 2 really big ones in our area. I definitely suggest y'all do that as well. And then it'll just be, like Heidi said, a learning on both of our parts. I think that, we've tested this thing and it works fairly well over the past month or so. And now it's just going to be getting more familiar with it. And I'm sure that there'll be, some of those older installers or the installers who don't want to change, or like, no, I'll just send in my report paper. That's why we provided it as that second page for the holding tanks and as for the ATTs or sand filters, the other annual reports as well. So, but I know our office is closed right now. So anything that comes in, whether through them sliding it under the door or through mail, is not going to get responded to nearly as quickly as if they just did it online. And hopefully the better they get with this, the more efficient we can be, to where hopefully we don't even see a vast majority of these. Their payments are processed online, reports are done through Acela, and hopefully it'll take a lot of time off of our already full plate. So just wanted to say thanks to Heidi and everyone else at DCBS for the big help. They put a lot of effort into this. So yeah, that's all I have. In addition, I know that we're going to be kind of funneling all questions back to the counties, but I know that you can call me, or email is probably the best way to get a hold of me if anybody has any questions you can't answer. I would first really try to direct them towards the e-permitting page that Heidi showed today, with a step-by-step workflow on how to do these annual reports. And then when that YouTube video comes out, it'll be helpful for those maybe who need to see it live in action to do that way. So yeah, we're definitely not unaware that there's going to be growing pains this year, and we're here to try to help this as much as possible. Please let us know if you have any questions. So
Yeah, thanks, Marty. I think that was really helpful to hear from you. And back in April, May when we started off on this project. We were kind of in the middle of our COVID work from home phase, but I don't think we ever, considered that we would still be closed up and doing a lot of things online clear in December. But here we are, and it's really neat how this new process, the new feature, kind of allows so many property owners and maintenance providers to do it online, do it at home, and be, at home and safe, and keeping everybody at the county safe too. So it was pretty good timing with all of this and our COVID situation that we're all in. So, that is, let me see if I have any more slides. Okay, my last slide. Are there any questions? I know you guys have been so quiet. Makes me a little nervous. Just ask away if there's anything you'd like me to go over or anything else.
I think that it was great what you put out there for us. I just think it's a lot of information, but I think it's wonderful what you put out. I'm excited.
Awesome. Yeah, it's hard because I know there's so much information to share with you guys, but it is a lot of information to take in. So I appreciate the feedback. And yeah, like I said, this training, it will be, it's recorded, so I will send it out in the next couple of days. But before the end of the day today, I'm committing to all of you that I'll send out the written documentation that I have, so that you have that and you can start generating those holding tank letters, which is probably the first thing on your to-do list for all of this. So I do have something in the chat. Oh, Julie Lancaster, thank you. No questions on my end. Thanks, Julie. All right. Anybody else? Okay, well, thank you guys so much. And just know that I'm an open ear. I love to help. If anything comes up, feel free to reach out to me through phone or email, and we can go from there. So that's it. I hope you guys have a really great day, and we'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.